Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Nightmare Hunter podcast. Sorry about the mix up at the beginning. We set the show up and launched it just like we normally do, and it didn't work. Don't know why. It's never happened before. And so I had to delete the old show and upload a new one. So we're not even streaming to Facebook because Facebook requires so much lead time, and I just wanted to get the show on. So Miss Lene, if you would mind, or any of the mods, doesn't matter. If you'll copy the YouTube link and post it on all the Facebook groups so people know where it's at, because I simply just didn't have time to let all the Facebook groups know where where it was going to be streaming. Uh, 'Cause I'm at a loss. I've never had this do that before. I launched the show just like normal, and the countdown started, and I was watching on YouTube on another screen to make sure it started because I always do, and I kept hitting refresh, and I'm like, well, we're well into the intro, and this has not started. I'm trying to flag Robbie down because he can't hear me.
No,
I'm
I could
like,
hear you. You just couldn't hear me.
yeah, I couldn't hear Robbie, and I'm like, something's wrong. So I had to kill that stream, which basically just deleted it out of out of the streaming service, and then I had to go delete it on YouTube so I could upload it again. So sorry for the confusion. This has never happened to us before. It is absolutely nuts. Harlan, you got banned from Facebook. Welcome to the club, brother. I've been banned 3 or 4 times. Uh, I got banned one time for a joke I posted back in 2016. Um, and it was a picture of Al Bundy holding up a sign that said "Kill me $6." It was from Married with Children, and they banned me for 4 days, 3 days over that. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? But here we are.
Yep.
Yeah, we are finally on the air. Although again, we're only transmitting onto YouTube this time. So hopefully the mods can get that shared onto the Facebook group. So if anybody was not aware of the sudden change, that we can get them into the show tonight. Um,
I'll say it. Damn satellites.
Damn satellites. Just want to let everybody know I had the shots yesterday, um, and when I get there, the doctor, his name's Tonkin. Him and his nurse are prepping me, and I'm on the table. And Tonkin's like, "You've had a few of these." I'm like, "Yeah, I've had a bunch of shots in my back." Well, the nurse is like, "Well, I don't got to tell you, this has got to hurt." I'm like, "Great." And then I was thinking I was getting 10 shots, and he's like, "Well, I've looked at all everything and looked at your back, and he said, I've decided we're only going to give you 6." I'm like, "Ooh, only 6."
Yay.
But Tonkin was really good. The shots did not hurt near as bad as I thought it was, and I got a tremendous amount of relief. It unknotted the muscles in my lower back. My back still hurts, but it went from like a 7 to like a 4. So it's tolerable. And now I've got lidocaine patches that go on my back that actually help with the rest of it. I've got one on right now. So if you see me fidgeting tonight, it's probably just because I'm fidgety and been drinking coffee all day. So not in a whole lot of pain. I feel pretty good. I go in on October 7th to see the neurosurgeon, and he'll decide at that time whether or not they're going to crack me open and work on the back, or if he does not recommend surgery, they're going to try what they call a spinal stimulator, which implants in my lower back, and it's kind of like a pacemaker. It puts little electric pulses into the nerve endings, and they say it works about 95% of the time with people, and that I would pretty much go back to feeling normal. He's like, and I'll warn you, it fixes nothing. Your back is still screwed up, but if you have that put in, it will relieve the pain. So may still wind. Well, I've already got the wheelchair ordered. I may still have to use it, like if we go to Silver Dollar City or if I've got to walk a real long distance. But hopefully, this will keep me on my feet at least short distances. And wheelchair or not, it ain't stopping me from getting in the woods. I mean, I'm still going to fish. I'm still going to go out and shoot videos. So chair or no chair, you can count on us still being stupid and going out and poking the bear when it comes to things in the woods. Thanks, Spencer. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad.
Them's fighting words, Spencer. Don't make me give you some Alabama white sauce.
don't run him off, man. Well, anyway, wanted to give you guys give the guys the update. As far as pain level goes, I feel pretty good right now. But I want to tell you guys about something before we get started on the headlines, because I had something happen to me this morning that has never happened to me in my life. And I know people that have had it happen to them, and I never really expected it. Are you guys familiar with sleep paralysis?
Heard of it a lot of times.
Well, I had it. For the first time in my life, I had full blown sleep paralysis. I knew I was asleep, but my brain was still working. Um, and when Noah came home from work early this morning, I could hear him and Annette talking, and I kept trying to respond to him. Just say, "Hey, I'm awake. I can hear you guys," and answer Noah's questions. He was telling Annette about his day at work and stuff, and I couldn't respond, and it kind of freaked me out. And then the rational part of my brain's just like, "Oh, you're deeper asleep than you thought." Kind of let it go. So apparently, I was having this for like a few hours. But then I finally got this violent part of the dream where I was a kid again, and I was with my dad, and I just kept falling down. I could one time I fell in the yard, and I could feel the grass on my face and the rocks in the yard. I could feel it. And then we went in the house, and I collapsed again and fell on the carpet, and then I couldn't get up. I could feel the fibers in the carpet, and I was desperately calling out for somebody to come help me, but apparently in my sleep I wasn't making a sound. And I finally, my heart rate got so high, and I was hyperventilating to the point that Annette heard me wheezing and groaning, and she started trying to wake me up, and it took her almost 5 minutes to wake me up. She was yelling so loud and shaking me that it woke the boys up, and they came in the living room, and they're like, "What's going on? Is he okay?" And when I finally came out of it, I was shaking like a leaf. I have never experienced anything like that in my life, and it was absolutely freaking terrifying. I hope to God I never have that again.
Yeah, I've never had it, but I know some people other than you, obviously now, that have had it, and they said it was just like terrifying. And I'm like, okay,
Well,
that's all I need. I don't.
Yeah, some people say when they have sleep paralysis that they see a dark shadow man in a big hat, like a big flat brimmed hat, and other people describe seeing what they refer to as the hag. As I did some research on it today, but I didn't have any of that. I was having like visions of when I was a kid and stuff. But when I just I absolutely I was locked up. I couldn't even move.
Well,
And Annette said my hands were just like this, just shaking while she was trying to wake me up, and I was just groaning in my sleep and trying to move, and I couldn't budge.
you remember Lindsay that worked with me, right? The one that the one I told you about that was messing with the Ouija board.
Yeah.
She, after she's messing with the Ouija board, she had an episode like that where she kind of rolled over and she looked and she saw something like that. The guy with the tall shadow figure with the big tall top hat on, standing in her doorway, and she knew her gun was beside her on her. And she was like, in her mind, was pointing the gun at him and saying, show me your hand, but she couldn't move to get her gun, and she was awake because she could move her head and look at her gun. In her mind, she was doing what she was supposed to. Her mind was telling her what to do, but her body wouldn't react.
That's insane. Yeah. Just a guy. Yeah, I'm 55. That's the first time it's ever happened to me. I've had what they call lucid dreams, where I've woken up and realized I was still dreaming, but I was completely conscious in the dream. But that was a whole different ball of wax. This, I was physically paralyzed, and Annette couldn't shake me. She thought I was having a seizure. I was shaking so much in my sleep. And I told the doctor about it today, the pain management doctor. And she goes, I've never heard of somebody having something like that. She goes, it might possibly have been that nerve pain medicine we put you on for a while, since it's starting to cycle out of your body. She said it might have been that, but we don't know. So no idea what caused it. Hope to God I don't have it again. And I really hope I don't have it tonight. You still there, Robbie?
Yeah, I'm here.
You
I
got,
was, yeah, I was looking at comments.
oh, okay. Well, folks, we're real glad you guys are here tonight. Sorry we got a late start. Hopefully we won't have that technical glitch again. But keep my fingers crossed, and as things seem to be going pretty well right now. We're just not broadcasting to Facebook, so it's what it is. Well, if anybody on Facebook wants to join us, they'll just have to join us on the YouTube link. Uh, going to be talking about some cool stuff tonight. We're going to be talking, well, more. We're going to be talking about the fellows in Colorado. We also got an update, thanks to somebody in the chat, about what happened in Kentucky, and there's a couple other things we're going to talk about. But first, let's talk about the coroner's report on those 2 hunters from Colorado. And in case you guys haven't heard, they released the official coroner's statement and said they were killed by lightning. Now, we discussed that as a possibility the other night. We did mention lightning. I don't know if somebody in the chat mentioned it or if Robbie mentioned it, but somebody brought up lightning, and we talked about that. But I still say if it was lightning, there would be obvious signs on them.
I ain't got dox flag, but
Yeah, Robbie's throwing the bullshit flag.
I mean, I know we talked about it, and shut up, Spencer. I know we talked about it, and I know that it is possible that it could have been lightning, even if like we talked about, no obvious signs, whatever. And if lightning had struck or hit the ground
Thank you, Candy.
At a distance, yeah, thank you, Candy. At a distance, it could have stopped their heart, and that could have been what it is. But I still don't get why it took so long to do the autopsy, why they're so hush-hush about it. It just, maybe it is. It just, but I don't know. It's just something about it. It still just don't.
Something about it still don't ring quite true. But the official coroner report was released, and the official cause of death was a lightning strike. But it seemed to me if they were in close proximity to a lightning strike, it probably would have cooked the ammo off in their guns.
You think? I mean, high heat will kick it off because the Mythbusters did that thing with the car fire kicking off ammo, and I would assume that a lightning strike would be probably hotter than, especially at the point of impact, would be hotter.
Oh yeah, they say when lightning strikes, the point of impact reaches reaches a hotter temperature than the surface of the sun.
Yeah, so I would say that would probably.
K. Bowers says fear could have been the actual cause. Yeah, but the question remains: what scared them so bad? They, 2 men in their mid-20s in good physical condition. What scared them so bad that they would have a heart attack? And that's pretty viable. I mean, I would think the coroner would be like, I have zero way to explain 2 simultaneous heart attacks on 2 men in their mid-20s. So I don't know. Just the cop in me says something about this ain't right. But I could be 100% wrong. I mean, I wasn't there. I'm not privy to the actual autopsy report.
According to the weather report, there was bad weather in there.
Yeah, there was bad weather in the area.
I don't know. It just it's too convenient.
The guy said Northwood's Zach scared him to death.
Could be, but it's entirely possible that that's what could have happened. It's really convenient for that. Oh, it was weather. It's a lightning strike. I mean, how many people are killed by lightning strikes in the United States in a year?
I will consult the Googles. I know it's pretty rare. How many people die from lightning? Okay. Wow, it's more common than I thought.
Really?
Globally, it's estimated that about 24,000 people die from lightning strikes each year, where in the United States the number is much lower, with an average of around 20 per year. So I guess the rest of the world is 23,980 of that.
But so it's not a common occurrence in the United States then,
Right.
and you just had two at the exact same time.
Well, I would say a lot of it is because
One more time?
From the time where kids were told not to stand under trees when there's a lightning storm, and most houses, in fact, I think all modern houses are grounded. But in other countries, God knows what the building code is, so maybe that contributes to it. But holy moly, 24,000 deaths a year globally, and only 20 of them here in the States.
Look, Spencer just echoed exactly what I said. Both of them killed exactly the same time, the same spot, exactly the same way. That's weird, and no difference whatsoever. That's what I'm saying. Lightning strike itself, okay, but two exact, the chances of it giving both of them a heart attack, especially if there was no signs of obvious injury, like they said. So that means if it was a lightning strike, the strike did not impact them dead on, because if it had of, there would have been obvious signs. So
Scott M says, "Wait, what heart attack? That's what they say. Drug users die from around the U.S. Is it possible they use dope?" I would say it's possible, but these were both experienced outdoorsmen, and that's generally not the type. Not saying 100% certainty, but there was no mention of any substances in their bloodstream. But the official report says lightning. If it had been drug overdose, they'd have touted that. I'm with Robbie throwing the bullshit flag. Something just don't sit right.
Yeah, I mean, like
a friend of mine's dad used to work construction, and he got struck by lightning, and it blew the end of his big toe off, and his toe looked like a hot dog that'd been in a microwave too long.
Yeah,
there's a pretty obvious entry and exit wound from a lightning strike.
That's what I'm saying. If the strike was dead on, then I can see maybe it killing both of them exact same way. But if there was no obvious signs of injury, that means it was not a direct strike. It was it was from a distance, and they were just suffering from the residual. And I know lightning will do that, because last year at our school, when lightning struck that tree, the tree was probably maybe 75 yards from the school, and it blew a computer out of the school district's truck that was probably 700 or 800 yards away from the tree that actually got struck, because it struck the tree, it ran down a chain link fence, jumped off the chain link fence, hit the school, went through the school, fried a bunch of cameras and stuff, and then jumped from the school to that truck over. So it hit a truck and a lawnmower that were nowhere near that. So I know lightning can do strange things.
Scott, we didn't think you were being rude. I mean, it was a legitimate suggestion. We didn't think you were being rude at all. When I was a kid, the lightning struck the flagpole at the junior high in Lebanon. I wasn't there at the time, but I know people who were. The cafeteria for the junior high was in another building, and you had to walk across this walkway. And lightning hit the flagpole and blew up the concrete base and hurt a bunch of kids, but nobody died. Toshi says, I know I'm grasping at straws here, but what if the lightning strike was more of a directed strike, like something you'd see in a wizard shaman casting a lightning spell in a movie or TV show? There would be obvious damage from a lightning strike.
Yeah.
Reggie says every time we heard lightning during construction, working on steel, we would run off the steel decks. Hell yeah, you don't want to be standing on a steel building when there's lightning in the air. It is time to get the hell off there before you turn into a tater tot.
Like the scene in Caddyshack when the preacher's having the best game of golf in his life.
No. That's a funny scene.
Yep. But there again, direct lightning strike, that's what it would do.
But yeah, that's the official report. So can I say it's not? No. But do I think that there's something hinky? Yes. Um, they may not be telling us the whole truth, or that may be legitimately it. Can't say with any degree of certainty. I just tell you, my gut says something's weird.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it may be 100% accurate what the report says. It just
Roxanne says, as a teen, I was playing softball. A lightning strike hit a boy on the other team, and all that was left of his shoes and his feet still inside. Jesus Christ! I would hate to have seen that. Northwood says, I saw lightning hit an airplane one night. No damage to the plane, but it melted the grounding wire. Someone mentioned directed energy weapons. Lead-laced Anarchy says, what if the lightning strike was a directed energy weapon? That's entirely possible, but why target two random elk hunters in Colorado? They were just a couple of mid-20s dudes. There was nothing special about them. It's not like they both work for NASA or something like that. So there's really no logical reason that would happen, and, unless it was just a random test, like, hey, here's a couple of dumbasses out here on the mountain, hit them. But I can't see that just being randomly selected. The odds against that are pretty astronomically low. So, is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. Sherry, yeah, I would not doubt it. I would definitely believe that happened in Maui.
Yeah, well, and there again, and Spencer's on the right track with this. He says, I don't know too many people that are experienced hunters that are sitting side by side under a tree while hunting, and then the exact same thing happened to both of them. It just doesn't sound right. And
There's just something off about it.
Did you see Shane in the house?
I haven't seen Shane in a minute.
Yep.
Hey, dude, proud of you for becoming a deputy, dude. Proud of you. Way to go, brother.
Yep.
Kay Bauer says, grasping at straws again. They witnessed something and had evidence, and someone with the government heart attack gun put them down. I don't know what they had witnessed out there hunting hunting elk. Yeah, that's we're heading into big tinfoil hat theory there, area there. Not saying it's not possible. Again, it's one of those things. I think it's highly unlikely because that was a public trail that everybody used. So I doubt they ran into anything they weren't supposed to see. I think it's just when it comes to the lightning explanation, I just think we're not getting the full picture.
You ready to switch topics, or you want to talk about this one some more?
I think we pretty well covered it. I mean, I wanted to do an update on that one, simply because they had officially released the autopsy report, and I don't know that I'm satisfied with it, but that's the official report. And unless they open that up to Freedom of Information Act, that's pretty much the story we're going to get.
Well, and that will be an interesting thing too, to see if they open or close, or leave the case open or close it.
Spencer says, how many times does it take a coroner to wait 5 days to declare it was lightning strike as cause of death? It shouldn't have taken a coroner 5 minutes to look at the bodies and go, this was electricity damage. It shouldn't. And granted, we're not exactly New York City here in the Ozarks, but we generally get autopsy reports within about 24 hours, even on weekends.
So, yeah, maybe 100% innocent and accurate and everything good, but it just doesn't smell right.
Right. There's a distinct odor to this one.
Yeah.
So, shall we move on to the next one?
Let's move her on.
All right. Yeah, y'all remember the other night on Saturday night we were talking about the incident where the lady was mauled to death by wild dogs, and her husband said no, it was something on two legs that got her. It was not wild dogs. Well, apparently the lady's daughter came forward and said the same thing. This was not dogs. This was something on two legs. And then come to find out that in that same county, Knox County, in that exact same county, that was the second attack this year by wild dogs. How do you explain that one? Because wild dog attacks are pretty rare.
Really rare.
Let alone have two in the same county in the same year. I think it was like 3 or 4 months apart.
And then that's not, like I said, not counting the other states, like my state that it happened in, which
Spencer's got a point. There are wild dog attacks all over, especially near the Appalachian Mountains.
Yep.
Tennessee, South Carolina, Kentucky. There was a wild dog attack in Ohio not too long ago. So you just can't tell me that there's just unchecked packs of wild dogs roaming all over the place. Because grow up a farm kid, I'll tell you, farmers tend to put paid to them pretty fast.
Spencer, I'm gonna come pick you up and we're gonna go look for Dogman. How about that, buddy? I'm just waiting for the shut it, Robbie, to come flying up on the chat.
I don't think Spencer wants any part of a dog man. And I don't think he wants any part of an Ozarks howler anymore either.
Nope.
Oh yeah, Tanya's here. We showed her video. The one from the I think it was a side by side from the sound of it with the eye shine.
Oh, she was the one that was in there with Maggie?
Yeah, I think so.
Because Maggie's the one that sent us the video.
Lone Queen says, and dogs tend to attack the legs first. Yeah, this lady, when they got to her, she was still alive, but her throat had been ripped out and she couldn't talk. And she actually died at the hospital, but she was pretty well torn up on the spot. Kind of, you got those two in Crook County, Tennessee, where one lady lost 40% of her. Her flesh was what they refer to as abraded. She had lost 40% of her flesh. But she died at the hospital. They managed to keep her alive till they got her to the hospital. But
and that's the one her husband said that what he saw was not a dog, right?
Right. I think that was the one. But there were two people killed within like a week in that same county. And I've seen the autopsy reports on the two people that were killed by quote unquote wild dogs. And that is the most redacted autopsy report I've ever freaking seen. It's missing pages of information. I can tell you, I've seen a number of autopsy reports in my day. And this one was so incomplete as to almost tell you nothing. There were no diagrams. There were no autopsy photos. There was nothing about the blood toxicity. It was just killed by dogs, basically. It was like a page and a half. And that's nothing. I mean, autopsy reports fill a folder most times, especially in a suspicious death.
Candy Stuff Corp want to know where they can get that report.
Which report?
The one you're talking about that was redacted. I guess the one you're talking about that was heavily redacted. Was that the one you sent to me or
yeah,
a couple years ago?
I think I've still got them. I know I should. I just don't know which file it's in. I knew somebody that Freedom of Information Act did the reports, and
because that's the one you sent me that said, "Hey, what stands out to you about this report?"
And you're like, "What report?"
Yeah. That's a bunch of black lines on paper.
Yeah, there ain't no report here. What the hell are you talking about? Seeing if I missed any questions.
Oh, and Tanya didn't answer. Yeah, she's Maggie's neighbor. So yeah, that was her on the.
All right. Hey, we can watch that video again if you guys would like to see it. In honor of her being here, we can watch that video again. Let me make sure I've got the right one loaded. Here we go. when that thing popped up that last time, it was a lot closer. Spencer, is that a nope moment for you, buddy?
Spencer's like, hell no. That'd be the moment that I would be jumping out of the side by side and running towards it, and DA would be like, get your butt back in this thing. Or no, Doc would be like, get your butt back in the thing. He'd be beside me.
Shane wanted to know if we've got any big plans coming up with us hitting 10K. Yeah, we're just over 100 away from hitting 10K. And we're going to do some pretty cool stuff and do a pretty big some giveaways. Robbie probably give away a few of his books. I'll give away a few of mine. And yeah, we're gonna make a big deal out of 10K. So, folks, please share the channel with folks you know that enjoy this kind of content, because we are creeping up on that 10K. And as soon as we hit it, we're gonna have a pretty big 10K spectacular.
Did you see Spencer's reaction to me?
No, I didn't. What did he say?
Oh,
I see it. I see
I'm
it.
about to say you'll see it. Hey, remember, you're the one that asked me to come and take you out in the woods, teach you how to track. So, what you gonna do if we find something while we out there tracking, buddy?
Yeah. What are you gonna do if he finds a track like we found at Joe Paul, freaking 6.5, 7-inch canine print?
I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna knee me and take off running back the other way.
Well, that night we were down there when that eye shine was trying to draw you into the woods. Every one of us cleared leather.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing was close. K Bauer says heavy redaction equals confirmation by denial. Yeah, not only was stuff blacked out, but there was just tremendous amounts of information missing. I mean, there should have been diagrams where they've got a basic drawing of a person, and they will mark all of the wounds on that person's diagram. None of that was there. None of the autopsy photos were there, and that was supposed to be the official autopsy. And I'm telling you, when a coroner does a suspicious death autopsy, there are tons of pictures, and most of them are pretty unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer's a go away yarn. Thank you, Tanya. Appreciate the subscription. So the fact that the case of the wild dog attack in Knox County, is it Kentucky or Tennessee?
Kentucky. Well, there's Knox County, Tennessee, but this one was in Knox County, Kentucky.
Okay. Well, the fact that the husband and the daughter of the victim have both come forward and said this was not dogs, this was something on two legs, and what was it? The sheriff was saying. The sheriff was saying, telling people to be in by dark and to keep their doors locked, because this was the second one in 4 months. And why would you? Do you have a problem with wild dogs coming up and going bing bong, candygram, ma'am? Keep your dog. Wild dogs don't bust in your front door and eat you.
Oh, the old
Randy Graham.
The old Saturday Night Live skit.
Shows up with a hat pulled down low and a trench coat on its hind legs. Bing bong.
Plumber. I didn't order a plumber. Oh man. Okay. Like the land shark.
Avon calling.
Slight derailment.
Just a guy says the weird thing is that the first death by KSP never revealed the death of the first victim. Yeah, exactly. That is, yeah. There was no mention of it in the article. It was just the sheriff let it slip in a public statement that was the second one in 4 months. So I grew up in a very, very rural area. I'm an Ozarks hillbilly, and I think I can only remember one time of my dad having to deal with a dog on our property, and that dog had rabies, and I was probably 5, and Dad shot that dog in the chest And it was clearly rabid. It was coming in our yard, heading for not only me but our dogs. And Dad shot that thing in the chest like 3 times and blew one of the front legs off before it finally dropped and stopped with a 12 gauge. Well, Dad wasn't playing around, but that thing kept coming. Angela says that needs to be in a book. Milkman, yeah, just like the bear that went into that guy's house in Florida. Yeah, that just ain't typical. And the bear, not only did the bear remove the guy's clothes, it also came back and killed his dog. Bear.
I said
70-pound
witnesses.
Yeah. Oh no, the Arkansas guy was the one with it was a 70-pound bear.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Also, the one in Florida actually took the guy's wallet out of his after he took his clothes off. Took his wallet out of his pants.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that typical bear behavior? Jeff, you hunt bears. Have you seen black bears do that before? Are they kleptomaniacs that secretly take people's clothes? Yeah, Spencer says nope.
He was going to steal that guy's debit card so he could pay for his Only Bear subscription or Only Cub.
Only Cubs. Oh, that's wrong. Bear goes into a liquor store with the old man's ID and a credit card, and the guy behind the counter. It's Arkansas. The guy's like, yeah, close enough. Justin Oldfart says, I hear fog and rabies. I think Cujo. That's a good movie. Yeah, Hillary says, plus the bear was polite and didn't make a mess in the house. Yeah, we're hearing all kinds of strange attack stories, supposedly wild dogs or bears that just don't make a lick of sense. Why does he leave us Arkansas points out of it?
Hey, White, if the bear claw fits, wear it.
I don't live in Arkansas, but I am close enough to hear the banjo music on a quiet night. Northwood says he's heard of bears stealing picnic baskets before, but not clothes.
Hey, boo boo.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just another great example of things that are just freaking weird right now. If these are cryptids, they are definitely losing their fear of us. Because everything we've talked about so far tonight, they just don't add up that it was something natural. But the next one we want to talk about, this one I'm going to let Robbie talk about and let him describe it because he came to me with it. This one will get your attention, folks. Robbie, go ahead.
All right. This is brought to man. I hope she's still watching because she was going to watch the show tonight just because this is the one that she brought to me. But girl I work with at the school, she said that my cryptid stuff is rubbing off on her FYP page because this just popped up on her FYP and she sent it to me. And a lot of y'all already been talking about it in the chats. It's the one from North Carolina where the guy makes the 911 call about passing what he thought was a man standing on the side of the road. A dark shape that looked like a man that was, I think he said it was bleeding at first.
Bleeding.
Is what he said.
Yeah.
That it was bleeding. And he's trying to give the dispatcher the information about it. And she's asking where he was at. And he gives a pretty good description of where he's at. And I'm trying to remember how she said she asked him again if it was a man, and before he could respond, you hear a big thump or a big bump or something on the 911 call, and then the guy just pretty much goes like crazy, screaming, saying, It's in the
It
bed of my
ain't.
truck. It ain't human. It ain't human. It's in the bed of my truck. And the dispatcher's like, what's in the bed of your truck? And he goes, it ain't human. It's in the, and you can tell this guy's really, he is, as me and DA were talking about before in the stage before the show, or backstage before the show, he was tore up from the floor up because he was scared. And then the video goes on, and the sheriff from that sheriff's office was actually talking about it. He said, and like I said, you can hear it a little bit on the video, but he said on the actual 911 call, you can really hear the sound of something like banging on the top of the truck. And he said you could hear what sounded like nails scratching on the roof of the truck. So apparently what the guy kind of accelerated a little bit and then hit the brakes. And as the sheriff said it, the inertia of the vehicle stopping threw whatever it was out of the bed of his truck over the hood or over the roof onto the hood and then off on the ground. And then I'm assuming the guy just drove off. But because he said that whatever it was kind of
He said it hit the ground and then ran off into the woods.
It stood up and ran off in the woods, and I'm assuming he just drove off after that's what I meant. That's
Wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't, but he did.
Yeah, well, most people would punch the accelerator and get the hell out of there.
But yeah, so that listening to and it sounds like a lot of you in the chat have listened to the video because it's been making its rounds. The guy don't sound like he's faking. I mean, it sounds like he's really upset and really scared. Yes, God, he keeps screaming, "It's not human." So, you know, I've been fielding questions all week at work about this one, and you know, I've heard talk of rakes and pale crawlers and Bigfoot and Dogman and all that stuff. I mean, he never
says what he thinks.
Never. All he really said at first was it was a dark shape that was standing on two legs,
bleeding.
And it was bleeding. So he never describes what any type of, head or facial features. He just said a tall, dark figure bleeding that was standing on two legs that he thought was a man.
He managed to turn on the lights into his bed, and that's when he's like, it ain't human. It ain't human.
So draw your own conclusions about what it actually was. Who knows?
Thanks, Spencer.
Say, Spence. I did do a little bit of digging around that area. There's a lot of Bigfoot sightings in that area. There's some Dogman sightings around that area. I'm pretty sure there was some stories about rakes around there, maybe some pale crawler stuff. I really couldn't find a whole lot on the white or the pale crawlers, but
thank you, White.
I think there was maybe
super chat.
Appreciate it, but I think there maybe was some rake stories from somewhere close around that area.
Well, the rake is pretty common story in the Appalachians,
yeah,
and that was pretty close to the Appalachians. Richie said that he drove got to 80 miles an hour, then locked up the brakes, and it was still moving over the roof of the truck. That thing hit the ground hard and got up and left.
All I heard was that the sheriff said that he accelerated, slammed on the brakes, and it went over the roof onto the hood and hit the ground and stood up and ran off. I never heard an actual speed, but there's probably a lot of different versions going around, so who knows?
Hillary said, where can we hear it? Robbie, if you'll send me the link to that video again, send it in chat so I can copy and paste it in, or you can just copy and paste it into the YouTube chat. Yeah, just copy the link to that TikTok video and post it in the chat. Now, the TikTok video he sent me, it's just some random lady, but you can hear the 911 call in the background. It's a fairly short video, but I just ignored her. She's just, doing it for clicks, but the 911 call is legit.
Did I send that in our text message chat or in the?
I think it was in text message because I don't think you've sent me anything today in on Facebook. Lone Queen says that
Yep,
took
there
some
it is.
speed to throw the big creature over the roof. Remember riding in a truck bed, you usually hit the cab. Depending on how tall it was. If you know, like when I was a kid riding in the back of the truck, I'd hit the back of the cab with my chest and my head still sticking up over the cab and wouldn't go anywhere. But you know, if I was 9 feet tall, it would have hit me in the thighs and I'd have went over the roof. Kay Bauer says there's a weird story on Ducks Unlimited podcast about a white human figure entering a tower fence trying to go up to get a hunter. Hunter started popping off 308 rounds. I would have too. How do you kill a rake? I don't know. Nobody really knows for sure what a rake is. I personally think that a rake might be some type of Wendigo, or it just might be some because the original Algonquin legends described the Wendigo as a pale, gaunt figure. It didn't say anything about a deer skull and antlers. That somehow came in later, and some believe that it might have just been a mask, and that's kind of the approach I took in my book, Curse of the Wendigo. That the deer skull was actually an elk skull with the antlers sticking out. But the original Algonquin descriptions describe them as pale, very emaciated, skinny, pale white creatures that look like they'd chewed their own lips off and gnawed on their fingers down to the bone. And that sounds eerily like a pale crawler. White Rook says, you guys familiar with Lon Strickler? Familiar, but don't really know it.
The link's in the chat.
Okay. Thank you, Robbie. You guys can watch that link in there. It's not very long, maybe 5-10 seconds. So up to you if you want to watch it now or you want to listen to us for a bit longer. But we can give you guys a minute or so. We can give you guys a little bit if you want to watch it. Like I said, it ain't very long. Justin Oldfart says Dragon's Breath rounds are dynamite. There are multiple stories on how to kill a Wendigo. Some involve using a silver blade to cut its heart out, and then you have to burn the heart separately from the body. There are other versions of the story that said fire will kill one. So yeah, there's like I said, there's a lot of different conflicting lore on Wendigos. It depends on which tribe you take, but they which tribes legends you read into. But I think the actual Algonquin one was the one where you had to cut its heart out with a silver blade, and then burn the heart and the creature separately, and then scatter the ashes. Richie says the hunter shot it in the head, in one in the chest on the Ducks Unlimited podcast. It was a Halloween last year, I believe. Robin Race's fire would probably cover a pale crawler. Fire tends to work on just about anything. Nothing likes getting set on fire. But you know, when it comes down to it, if I'm dealing with a Wendigo or a pale crawler, I'm not looking to kill it. I'm looking to slow it down so I can get the hell out of there. 443 Big Vic says, DA, what are the odds a MIB or agency, quote unquote agency, paid the guy a visit, telling him shut the hell up and we'll pay for the damages? It would not surprise me to hear this story just go away, because that does tend to happen. A lot of times people get told, this is what happened, and you're going to stick with the story. And
that's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Perfect example of that is the one from the Lizard Man at Skateboard Swamp. Remember the
Air they Force found guy? Him suicided.
No, not that one. The Air Force guy who claimed he shot it went to the sheriff's office and hey, this thing come out and I shot it and blah 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 blah. And they talked to him several times. He never changed his story. He goes back to the base after he files the report, and then shortly thereafter he went to the base, he shows back up with two other people, and he's like, I lied. I want to change my story.
Well, the guy, the young kid that originally reported it, he would not change his story, and a few years later, they found him dead by Suicide.
No, he wasn't the suicide one. He was the one that home invasion.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was the, killed in a home invasion. Pete said it needed a ride to urgent care. But yeah, this one, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to watch the video yet. This one's really interesting. Like I said, ignore the background, the chick in the background. Just listen to the 911 call, and even the sheriff was like, there was obvious damage to the vehicle, and you could hear the panic in the guy's voice, and you could hear it beating on the roof and scratching the roof. So something happened to this poor dude. But all he described it was big, dark, and bleeding. So could it have been a Bigfoot? Yeah. Could it have been a dog man? Also, yeah. Because both are sighted in that area. I wouldn't go with a pale crawler because, again, he described it as big, dark, and bleeding. So it might have got clipped by a vehicle prior to that. I'm wondering if somebody comes forward and said, yeah, I saw a Bigfoot crossing the road and clipped it with my semi or clipped it with my four-wheel drive, and that's why it was bleeding at the side of the road when he rolled up. So it wouldn't surprise me if another story comes forward soon. But this is just weird enough that it's, again, I don't think it's a pale crawler, but because of the way he described it, but it's definitely weird enough it's going to get some folks' attention. And I'm wondering if this guy gets told to, put up or shut up sometime in the near future. Yeah. Rodney says he just listened to it. I personally am leaning toward a Bigfoot creature because, we hear stories about dogmen pacing cars, but I've never heard of one of a Bigfoot jumping in the bed of a truck either. So, oh yeah, I would still lean toward Bigfoot, but I wouldn't rule out a dogman.
I kind of go the other route. I think we've heard so many stories of dogmen chasing cars and running after cars and trying to get people that are in cars. I just tend to think I don't know. Personally, I think if it had been a Bigfoot that jumped in, it would have. I don't think he would have been able to shake it off as easy as he did. Because as strong as they are and as good a grip,
you heard scratching on the roof. I mean, Bigfoot have fingernails, but dogmen have claws.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that too. Is I just kind of leaned towards it was a dogman.
You could be right.
Big black. Think about big, black, and bleeding. If it had just killed a deer or just killed something, maybe the bleeding was, it just made a kill. And then it saw him and took off after him because, if they are, have some canid in them, what do dogs love to do? Chase cars.
Rodney says it was near a national park.
Yep.
That's another, hey, look at that.
Well, what do you know? Did you see Pete? I bet you could destroy a rake with a dirty hoe.
That's funny.
Yep, my personal opinion is dogman though on that. It just fits the bill for so many things we've heard. I mean, not too many stories come out about Bigfoot chasing a car and jumping into a car. Now, maybe attacking a stopped vehicle. We've heard stories about that, but just think back to the stories of the Beast of Bray Road, that game warden that was picking up the deer that had been hit, the roadkill, and he takes off and the thing chases him and grabs the deer out of the back of the truck. The story about the kid that got chased, the one that had the machete and jumped out of his car before the dogman was chasing him in the ditch, and the police officer come up and picked him up because he said if the police officer hadn't come up, that thing would have probably jumped him because it was chasing his car for like a mile. Then we talked to another guy somewhere that remember he was in his friend's car and the thing almost ran into the side of his car and messed his car up, and he went ahead and fixed the car because he didn't want to tell his friend what had really happened. So I mean, there's a lot of stories of that stuff happening. That's just why I kind of think, may have been.
Well, there was a story, I want to say about 10 years ago. A teenage girl in Arkansas had stopped on a gravel road and had her sunroof open, and apparently one reached in and grabbed her by the hair and tried to pull her out of the car.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that was a brown pants moment.
No kidding.
And that's why I don't have any hair. Well, that's not the only reason. Genetics has a lot to do with it, too.
Yeah.
White Rook says, I think there's any relation to chronic wasting disease and increase in cryptid sightings. I've got a crazy theory on that, kind of a little bit of tinfoil. I think chronic wasting disease was manufactured in the same labs that Lyme disease was. Lyme disease was released. It was designed on Oak Island and released. Among other things. I think Lyme disease and chronic wasting disease were deliberate attempts to limit wild food sources. And I think that was directed at making us more reliant on government food sources as opposed to hunting for ourselves. But if it is affecting more and more ungulates, it's definitely going to affect the cryptid population because they're going to not want to eat the game, and they're going to have to find something. They're going to have to find something else to eat, and that might explain why they've decided to get meat of the two-legged variety. K. Bowers, Oak Island, isn't it another name? I think they did actually change it. No, not Oak Island. You're right. It wasn't Oak Island. It's
Oak Island's where the treasure is supposedly buried.
Yeah.
You think of Plum Island. Just No Fart's got it.
Plum Island. That's right. I don't know why I had said Oak Island. That's it. But the Plum Island facility was shut down, and it is now in an underground facility in Kansas, supposedly somewhere near Topeka. Just in time for chronic wasting disease to start appearing across the Ozarks. When I was a kid, we never heard of chronic wasting disease.
Nope.
I hunted deer my whole life, and it wasn't until the last decade or so that chronic wasting disease even became a thing. White Rook says also, yeah, that's what Lyme disease does. That Lyme disease is a tick-borne disease. It causes alpha-gal. You don't tell me that's not deliberate. Something that'll make you allergic to red meat, which that would be targeting the beef industry, make you much more dependent on what was it that Bill Gates was pushing? Artificial meat. Not eating it. I can fish and I'll eat squirrels. I'm not eating artificial meat. Not happening.
Nope.
Roxanne says the new facility is near Manhattan, Kansas. Okay, I was thinking it was. You're right. It was Manhattan.
Big Vic, I don't know if CWD is related to MAC.
They're similar diseases. They're both prion diseases.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not Doc or Steve as far as that goes. I know I've heard them say that they're similar, but I don't know if they're just similar because they're both prion diseases or they're
related, but they're not exactly the same disease. And if you eat deer that's tainted with chronic wasting disease, it can transfer to humans the same way chronic mad cow disease did. So they're very similar diseases. They're prion diseases, but they're not just the same. But they're both prion diseases that affect your brain. White Rook says you guys should do a show on this. I think we did one on.
We've done a couple on chronic wasting disease and rabies and all that stuff.
We got to check and see if Doc's going to be available for Saturday, and maybe Steve as well, and do an in-depth talk about chronic wasting disease.
When I was in Texas for that show that time, we did a show on CWD and because that we talked about the relation between rabies and CWD and all that stuff. I remember we did that show on that one. But yeah, it's about time to probably do another one.
Yeah, it has been a hot minute since we did it, and there's more data out available on it now.
Yep.
But yeah, I get my tinfoil hat out here, but I think just like Lyme disease, I think chronic wasting disease was deliberate.
What's that new one? The new tick-borne thing that you get it, you can't eat red meat.
Alpha gal.
Yeah.
Sherry Porter says, me and my husband both got Rocky Mountain spotted tick fever when we moved to Oklahoma 4 years ago. I knew a kid that got that when I was young. Yeah, that's no joke, and that's another tick-borne disease. Really
think about
really
when we were kids. I mean, I'm sure it's still bad, but think about when we were kids how scary that was. How much that's all you heard about. If you go outside and get a tick on you, you better get it off quick, because if it buries in you, you get Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Rocky Mountain spotted fever. You're dead. I mean, that's what they preached to us back then.
Mm-hmm.
That scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
And here in Missouri, ticks are thick.
You
go out in the woods, you're going to get a tick, probably several. In fact, we in my pack, I keep a roll of adhesive tape so I can roll it backwards on my hands, because those little seed ticks will get on your legs, and they look like freckles moving around. They're so damn small. You just got to take that tape and stick them to it. Those seed ticks are the worst, man. You'll look down on your legs and look like they're crawling. Yeah, you'll have 1,000 of them damn things on you if you walk in the wrong areas. That's why I treat my boots with DEET, and then I spray my pants with DEET, because I don't want no dang ticks on me. Well, when Robbie was here last time, we went out to Smiddle Cave, and when we were leaving Smiddle Cave, I found one on the back of my head. I felt it crawling behind my ear, and I was like, God dang it, it's a freaking tick. Got home that night and checked. I didn't have it anywhere else, but I guess it had dropped onto me off of a tree.
Yep.
Bigfoot Truth says silver sol for Lyme. That's good to know. Northwoods, one thing you want to, if you're going out in would you say West Texas? Or was it? I missed it. It jumped and now I've lost it. He said before he goes out.
Hillary said they say wearing pantyhose keeps ticks from latching on. Suit up, boys. I'll just use spray. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with the spray. But yeah, another thing you got to worry about in Texas is rattlesnakes. You better get you a good set of gaiters if you're going out, because them damn things are everywhere. Richie says, DA, y'all use Captain Ron's all-natural bug spray. I generally use, I just get a bottle of DEET from Army Surplus. That stuff stinks, but it does a damn good job.
I can't think of what the name of it. It comes in a yellow bottle, but it's the stuff that they recommended when I went to do my tracking training class. It's the best stuff I've ever. I think it starts with a W, but it's in a yellow bottle. Best stuff I ever used. The whole entire time that I was crawling around in those woods in North Carolina, I never got the first tick. When DA got that tick on him, I'd sprayed down with that stuff. Didn't have the first tick on me. I'd
sprayed, but I guess it dropped, because I sprayed like around my boots and around my legs. I didn't anticipate it getting dropped on me for airborne.
But remember, I sprayed my hat.
Yeah. By God, next time I go out, that's what I'm doing. Someone was saying that. Oh, Robin Ray said there was a young man near mid Tennessee a few years ago who died from Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Richie says DEET also gives you cancer. It's what I heard. Dude, I've had so much DEET on me over the years. If it's going to kill me, it would have done it a long time ago.
That's what they gave y'all in the military, right?
Yeah, we used it constantly. I would take it and rub it on the inside of the tops of my boots before I put them on. Kay Bauer says Old Man Robertson from Duck Dynasty always swore Victoria's Secret women's perfume kept bugs off of them. My wife, mosquitoes just love her. I mean, we can go outside and there might be, mosquitoes flying around, but I won't have a single one on me, and every one of them will land on her. I don't know why, but they seem to attracted to her. I mean, if she's not out there, I'll still slap the occasional mosquito, but if she's out there, she's the mosquito magnet. And she used Skin So Soft from Avon, and that worked real good for her. But she didn't go out in the woods, but Mara Rod says that's true. People here in Texas wear boots to go to the bathroom. I knew a guy down in New Mexico got bit right in the ass by a rattlesnake because he stopped at a roadside rest area, and they had porta potties out there, and he didn't look before he sat down. It bit him right square in the ass. He almost died. He's glad. He ought to be glad it didn't bite him in the tea bag because his ass cheek swelled up like a football. I would not want to get bit anywhere real sensitive like that.
I bet he felt like a real ass for not looking.
There's a snake in my shorts.
There's a snake in my boot.
Arlen Neal says one of the chemicals I used in my old dark room was a repellent. I never got bitten at all the time. I had a sergeant in the Army told me a trick, and I've used it before, but I probably wouldn't recommend it because I did it because he was like old school. I was in the late 80s, and he had served in Vietnam, and real nice guy. But he said that he never got a tick or a mosquito at all. And I asked him what his trick was, and he said match heads. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He said, you take these wooden matches and just put the match part in your mouth and chew it. He says, it tastes like shit, but you get used to it. I said, what does that do? He goes, once that phosphorus gets in your bloodstream, they won't land on you for a damn thing. And he swore by it. I did it a few times, and it did seem to kind of work, but I don't recommend eating match heads.
I've heard the same about garlic tablets, though. If you take a couple of garlic tablets.
I cook with so much freaking garlic. It's no wonder mosquitoes stay away from me. I'm safe from vampires and everything else. White Rook says, DA, did you ever get to speak with Art Bell? I used to listen to his show all the time, but I never got to meet the man. Never got to speak to him. I met George Norrie, and we'll just leave it at that. I've been on Coast to Coast a couple of times, actually 3 times, but it was the weekend edition with Richard Surrett.
You were on this a couple months ago, I think, wasn't you?
Just a little while. I was right before the first of the year.
Yeah.
I need to reach out to Richard because he likes to have me on every once in a while. Hillary says, how many boxes of matches do you have to eat? He would just pop one in his mouth anytime we were going out in the field. And over the course, he'd just, chew 1 or 2 a day. And once that phosphorus gets in your bloodstream, they want no part of you. Is it Roxanne says, DA, what are the best snake boots to get? I don't know brand wise what the best ones to get. But make sure you got plenty of coverage. I mean, you want more than just your 8-inch uppers because your average rattlesnake is going to strike well above that boot. And you want to make sure that they're thick enough. It is going to stop even like timber rattlers, because if you step on a copperhead, his fangs are fairly small. I mean, it'll punch through like a canvas shoe, but it ain't punching through leather. A timber rattler will punch through a cowboy boot. I mean, they've got some serious fangs. So make sure you're getting something that's rated for some of the bigger snakes. And you'll want to make sure it gets as close to your knees as you can get it.
And an Eastern Diamondback is going to be even worse than that. So depending on where you're at, if you're somewhere where one of those things are.
Sidewinders will bite the crap out of you too. And they tend to strike high because they coil up and then launch. And they can strike pretty high. I mean, I've heard of people getting bit in the arm. K Bauer says, not long after Art Bell's passing around COVID, I saw a short guy in the store I worked at. Looked like Art Bell with a mask on. He also had a Nye County Radio Club t-shirt. Weird as you can get. That's kind of cool. Maybe it was him. Estelle Hardington says mosquitoes tend to gravitate toward type O blood. That might explain it. And it's got type O blood, and I've got B negative. S. Coleman 825 says, "What about the Arizona Diamondback?" Yeah, Diamondbacks will bite the crap out of you. But ones in here in Missouri that most worry me are cottonmouths. Only snake I've ever seen chase you down, bite you again. And their venom is bad. And if you're here in Missouri or anywhere in the Ozarks, Wyatt can follow that up. If you see water, if you want to know if there's cottonmouths in it, if you walk up and touch that water, and if it feels wet, there's cottonmouths in it. They're everywhere. I don't care if you got a pond on your land, you're going to find a cottonmouth in it.
But we're talking about rattlesnakes. Venom wise, the worst rattlesnake that you got to worry about in the United States is the Mojave. That's the one that'll kill you the quickest and mess you up while you're waiting for it.
No bigger than it is, the pygmy will still put a hurt on you.
Yeah, but the Mojave is the one that's the species of rattlesnake that kills more humans in the U.S. than any other.
They're a very aggressive snake too.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've got the combination of neuro and
hemotoxin.
Yeah, it's hemo and neuro.
Hemotoxin.
And that's what's so bad about it, because you need a special anti-venom that has those coders for both of them. So that's why they're so deadly.
Yeah, fortunately we don't get snakes like king cobras or anything like that. But the ones we do have are pretty nasty on their own.
Well, don't say that, because Florida's there's talk now that there's king cobras loose in Florida.
Wow. Will people quit releasing crap in Florida?
I just saw it a couple of days ago. They said that now that there's people reporting there's king cobras in the Everglades. Obviously, now we know there's anacondas and reticulated pythons, and I think Burmese pythons
and rock pythons.
Yeah, some African rock pythons. Now
they're saying that Nile monitors are in there. The Nile monitor. Those things are freaking aggressive.
Speaking of the Nile, there's also reported, and I think documented, but I know for sure reported cases of Nile crocs that are now breeding with American crocodiles, making hybrid crocodiles.
That's not good news.
No.
Hillary says, I panic really easily. If you get bit by a snake, what's the first thing you should do?
Don't panic.
Yeah. Number one, don't panic. Try and stay calm, because the faster your heart races, the faster that venom's going to get through you.
Yeah.
That's a much better question for Doc or Steve. But call 911 and seek help immediately.
As far as mine and DA's limited knowledge, they used to tell you to put a tourniquet above out, because I've heard Doc say this, so that's why
don't do it anymore.
Don't put a tourniquet on it. You put a pressure bandage on it, which basically what you do is constrict. Instead of tying off right above the bite, you do a pressure bandage, which compresses all the way. Say if you're bit right here, the pressure bandage is going to go from here to here, and you're going to just constrict the entire arm. That's going to slow the progression of the venom down. Try to keep the bite lower than your heart. Like we said, try to stay calm. If the snake has been killed, take it to the hospital with you, so they can identify it, so they know which form of anti-venom to give you. Because what's going to happen if you go and you describe a snake, and there's several different types that it could be. Like, say you're in a area that's got more than one type of rattlesnake, and you just say it was a rattlesnake, one might take a different type of anti-venom. So if you can take the snake where they can identify,
or at least get a picture of it.
Yeah, or at least a picture of it. But
I don't recommend trying to catch the snake. It'd probably be better if you could just get a picture
and get to the hospital. A lot of times, especially with larger adult snakes, you're going to get a dry bite, depending on the species, because venom is how they hunt and that they can regulate it. So a lot of times you're going to get a dry bite. That doesn't mean it's 100% guaranteed, but you still need to go and you still need to get
Me
seek
too,
medical
Hillary.
treatment.
Me too.
What? I missed it.
So I might not be killed, but it will be brown, really brown. Yeah, that would be a shit your kit moment. K Bauer says the ER I work at, they only keep 2 rounds on hand, I was told. Most hospitals don't even stock it anymore.
Yeah, it's most anti-venom in the United States comes from Miami-Dade. Wonder why most of the anti-venom comes from there. What were we just talking about? That's all over the place. Florida is one of the United States' biggest hotspots for exotic pets, exotic reptiles. There's a lot of hot species down there, and by hot I mean venomous. That if you get a venomous snake to keep, and I'm not saying anybody in here does it, but I'm just saying in general, if you buy, especially from the internet or something like that, buy a venomous reptile, 9 times out of 10 it's coming from Florida. If it's coming from the US, that's where it's coming from. And so most places in the United States, if they get anti-venom that's coming from Miami-Dade, from Venom 1, that fire department that does catches all the snakes and does all the anti-venom work, they've got their own chopper called Venom 1. And that matter of fact, during 9/11, when everything was shut down, there was a guy who got bit, and I think it was a king cobra, and I think it was in Los Angeles. When all the flights got shut down, there was one flight that got permission to fly, and it was Venom 1, flew from Miami-Dade to Los Angeles to bring the anti-venom to him. That was the only flight that day that got permission to fly after everything got shut down.
Yeah, getting bit by a venomous snake is no freaking joke. Yeah,
No.
like Robbie was saying, a compression bandage if you've got one. But try to get someone to get a picture of the snake, call 911, and seek help immediately. Because even if it's just a dry bite, you've got no way to know.
Yep.
Because most of those bites, you're going to notice swelling starting almost immediately, especially around the wound site.
And don't do the old thing of sucking out the venom that they used to talk, because guess what? You're just putting more venom in your system, because if there's venom on top of that bite right there, if I got bit on my finger and I went, what I do? I just envenomated myself. More so than I already was. So
Lori Gibbs says Rattler killed our neighbor's cat, lived in lower eastern Sierra Nevada, California.
that's probably my hobby.
Probably. Rattlesnake bites are no joke. I don't want to get bit by any snake. I don't like snakes at all. I think there's only 2 kinds of snakes in this world. Kind of snake that'll kill you, kind of snake that'll make you kill yourself trying to get away from it. That's pretty much where I'm at. But yeah, you've got to be careful, because if you get bit, you just cannot take the chance. You need to get to an ER, call 911, get an ambulance, whatever you've got to do, but you need to get help immediately.
Yep. And that here's the thing: unless you're an expert, you don't need to be fooling with a snake anyway.
Right.
Here's the thing: unless it's in your house, or unless it's right next on your doorstep, or it's threatening your loved one, your child, your pet, something like that, if you see it in your yard, just leave it alone. Because that's how a lot of people get bit, is they see a snake and they think, I'm gonna go kill it, and they get a shovel, or they get this, they get that, and they go to smack it or whatever, and then the snake gets on to whatever you're on, and then that next thing you know, it's on you and you're getting bit. Just let it go. Like
I,
DA said with the dog man, it's not going to come up and slither up and ring the doorbell and get into your house that way. So there are things you can do to keep your house less friendly to snakes. And there's go ahead.
you can plant marigolds. Plant marigolds around your house. Snakes avoid it. That's an old Native American one.
Yep. So just the best way to keep from getting bit is to leave them alone. If you're not an expert, will move. And I've been dealing with snakes my entire life, but there's certain snakes I'm not going to mess with. I mean, if I see a black snake, I'll pick it up and put it out in the woods, no problem. But if I see a copperhead, I'm going to use my snake hook 100%. I'm not going to try to freehand anything hot. And like I said, I've been messing with snakes my entire life, and I'm 51 years old, and I'm not stupid.
My snake hook comes in the 12 gauge variety. I'm going to make snake tartar.
Well, if it's a copperhead, I'm going to use my snake hook, but he's not going to survive because I'm going to take him somewhere and take in where I can safely and dispatch of him. But if it's a black snake, I'm just going to freehand him, pick him up, and get him out in the woods. Because guess what? If there's a black snake around the house, 9 times out of 10, that means there's not anything venomous around the house. And that's the other thing. I know a lot of y'all don't like snakes, but if you see a black snake, leave it alone because it's going to keep venomous snakes away. It will kill and eat venomous snakes, up to and including rattlesnakes. So,
K. Bauer says, do marigolds keep rats and mice away too? Not that I'm aware of. But I'd rather have rats and mice that I can put poison out for instead of having damn snakes around the house. No, thank you.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. If you keep the rodent population minimized in your house, you're not going to have a lot of snakes around your house. So, and you know, it's a cycle. You get rid of one, you get rid of the other. So you have to identify the source of the problem before you can treat it. So if you've got a lot of snakes around or getting into your house or hanging around your house, there's a reason. You got to identify that reason and treat that reason before you can get rid of the other.
Yeah, Eric Testament says king snakes eat venomous snakes, keep them around.
King snakes and black racers, whatever, coach whips, whatever you want to call them. King snakes and black snakes are two different types. I mean, they're in the same family, but they're actually two different subspecies. They're in the same family. King snakes are usually the ones that you see the white stripes. They're black with the white stripes running around them. Black snakes are the ones that are usually solid black on top, and they have the white belly underneath. A lot of people call those black racers or coach whips. So, yeah, both of those snakes, though, are the kind that kill and eat venomous snakes. They're constrictors. They will constrict them. And
did you ever notice you can smell when garter snakes are around?
Mm-hmm. They musk just like other snakes. Garter snakes will musk without you picking them up. Black snakes won't usually musk unless you pick them up and start handling them.
Yeah. My general rule of thumb is snake in my yard, dead snake. I don't care. I'm not going to lift its skirt up to see what kind of snake it is. I'm just killing it. Wyatt says you can smell copperheads as well. I've never really noticed the smell around copperheads, but I've seen a crap ton of them. In fact, just the other day, I think I mentioned this Saturday, but just last week, there was a lady that used to be a newscaster here in Springfield. She got bit on the foot by a copperhead on one of the greenways trails here, just right here. Oh, it was down in Ozark, about 10 miles from here, but it was a well-maintained greenway trail. She stepped on it and it snapped around and bit her on the shoe. She was wearing like canvas, like sneakers, and it went through and most of the venom went into her sock. But it did manage to break the skin, and she had to get anti-venom. But yeah, it went, and it wasn't even a big one. It went through her shoe.
Hillary, yeah, copperheads do have a certain smell that kind of smells like cucumbers.
Well, I hate cucumbers too.
Unless they're pickled.
Yeah, I don't mind them pickled and on a burger. Yeah, Rodney says a lot of baby copperheads around right now until about November. Yeah, and the little ones have packed more venom than the big ones, and they will envenomate you because it's their only defense.
It's not really that I've heard that too, but it's not really that they have more venom. It's just they, like you just said it, they don't control it like the big ones do.
Right.
They just every bite is a hot bite because they can't control it. So they don't have more venom. They just use it because
Yeah.
they haven't learned. Hey, that's what I got to use to kill my food yet. They just think danger.
There was a story I heard years ago when I was young, and I don't know if it was true. It was one of those. I heard this story from my cousin who said he knew the guy that it happened to, those kind of stories. But supposedly there was a kid on Lake of the Ozarks back in the 70s who died because he was fishing and he had found when he was looking for worms, he found a bunch of baby copperheads and scooped them up and put them in a can. And they asked him what he was using for bait. He said he's biting worms, and they were biting him in the fingers every time he'd put one on hook and cast. Killed him after just a couple hours.
I think I've heard a story like that too. That may
It's probably one of those urban legend stories that floats around.
that sounds
I heard a ton of them
really.
stories. They claimed it happened here on Lake of the Ozarks. So I don't know if the story is true or not, but
Yeah, that sounds really familiar. Rodney, is that something that's gone around here too? Because I swear that sounds really familiar.
I do know for a fact there was an old boy on Lake of the Ozarks was noodling for catfish, and he stuck his arm up under the bank and got bit by a cottonmouth. Killed him.
Well, that doesn't
killed him before they get him to shore.
Those snakes are mean.
Yeah, that's one. That's two reasons I'm not doing noodling. I don't know what anybody else. If y'all call it anything different, but around here they call it noodling. No, not doing it. Number one, I'm not sticking my arm up underneath a root wad in the bank, and two, I ain't grabbing a catfish because them damn things will do you some damage.
Mm-hmm.
White says when he was about 10, he walked into a cottonmouth nest by a fallen tree. You're lucky you didn't die, man. Those are mean ass snakes.
Yeah, that's always the scene that scared me more than any horror movie I ever watched. Was that scene in Lonesome Dove when he fell off the horse?
Into that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's hard to watch. I was floating on the Niangua one time. And this, you know where the Niangua is, Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
I was floating the Niangua and fishing from a canoe. We were just floating slow and fishing as we went. And I kept seeing something over by the bank, and this freaking cottonmouth was just heading straight for us. And I was like, "What the hell?" And I had a little 410, like short barrel 410 snake charmer. And when he got up next to the boat and started sticking his head up out of the water, I blew it clean off. Like, you ain't getting in a boat with me, you son of a. Yeah, I just stuck that 410 down by it. Lyle McThompson says Margolin likes to eat them. Yeah, he's an idiot. He does. Said he used to eat these things when I was in ranger school. He's a little moron, but yeah, he'd do it. Wyatt says you couldn't see them. They just started slithering out. Yeah, nope. As Doc calls them, nope ropes. Nope. Ain't messing with no damn snake.
You remember the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin? You remember the episode when he was up in I can't remember if he was in South Carolina or North Carolina, part of the Appalachians. But he's up there and he got a hold of a rattlesnake and he was holding it and showing people, how he always bit down, and he all of a sudden he goes, and you see him mouth. He looks down, there's like another one curled up. He's down and it's in between his legs like that, and he's just like, hold what you got, guys. Hold on. And he's trying, because he thought it was the one he had rattling, and he just happened to look down and he saw the other one. And that's somebody who had a lot of experience. And Be careful when you're out there.
Yeah.
Because if it can happen to him, it can happen to any of us.
Oh yeah, that guy was an expert at handling snakes. I watched he was one of the crocodile hunters. He was in Arizona, and he found this snake, and he it was crossing the road as he was driving down the road, and he jumps out and runs over, and the crew's following him, and he grabs the snake and picks it up, and it whipped around and bit him right on the thumb. And so he just like gently pried its mouth off of him and threw it down. And he runs back over to his SUV, throws the back door open, grabs this book and starts flipping through it. Then he goes, "Non-venomous, yes."
I remember that episode too.
That one always cracked me up. Do you see the one where he stopped his camera crew and told them to get the hell out of there when they found that cassowary bird? Yeah, he was just like,
oh, I don't think I don't think there was an episode of that show that I didn't see. That I love Steve Irwin.
Me too. Brett says, I was hiking one night. There was a section of road covered in snakes. I walked through it thinking they were sticks blown off a tree during a storm. When I was in the middle, I started looking at them closer. Yeah, that would have been a brown pants moment too. It would have been, you'd have seen a fat bald guy do the Roadrunner. Me.
Yes, Wyatt, he was.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to think if we got any more headlines to cover. We kind of got sidetracked talking about snakes and
we sidewinded a little bit.
Yeah, we did sidewind a little. See what you did there. I was trying to think. I had other stuff, but I should have written it down. Knowing my memory, I should have known.
Honestly, I think we talked about everyone that we said we was going to talk about. I think, anyway. I don't remember any others. You may have told me another one, but
trying to remember. I thought I had one more.
Dog attacks, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina, that's the only ones I remember.
It seems like
Hillary wants. She must have came in late. She wanted an update on the thing from Kentucky.
Oh, the one from Kentucky. Yeah, the update was that now the woman, the victim's daughter, has come forward, also backing the woman's husband's story that it was something on two legs. It wasn't dogs, and then the sheriff let it slip that there was another attack in that same county 4 months earlier. Another fatality that they just somehow forgot to mention.
And he told everybody to stay indoors at night and lock your doors.
And lock their doors. Yeah, because wild dogs are just come barging in.
Yeah.
Kay Bowers, that was the first one we were talking about. That was the one in Kentucky, the dog attack. Also heard a news clip, and I don't remember if it was recent. Somebody sent it to me. A news clip of a donkey being killed near Taylor, Mississippi by an unknown canine.
That is that's really, really, really suspicious for a donkey to get killed by any kind of canine, since
apparently it was tore up pretty good too.
The whole point of donkeys are to protect livestock against coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
And a donkey will F a coyote up.
Yeah, they'll stomp it to death.
Well, they'll pick it up with their mouths and sling it around and break its neck.
Yeah, donkeys ain't afraid of anything, but this one was tore up.
So I don't know what kind of regular dog, wild or no, could kill a donkey.
Yeah, that's a tough animal.
Mm-hmm.
Rodney says that's usually the other way around. Yeah, and apparently it was not the first livestock mutilation in the area from an unknown canine is what it was.
And I'll say that again. In this day and age, there is no such thing as an unknown canine.
Yeah.
You can take your Heinz 57 mutt to the vet and say, how many dogs is in this fine specimen here? And they can do a DNA sample. And they can tell you every single breed that your dog consists of to make your dog.
443 Big Vic says Taylor, Mississippi. I could swear there was a creepypasta about a farm overrun by dogmen. You're talking about the siege of Lockett Ranch, which was the story was told on Dark Waters channel. Dark Waters insists he got that story firsthand, and I've had independent corroborators say yes, the story's true. People that lived near Taylor. And I've also had people say, I live near Taylor and that's bullcrap. But I've had more people tell me that it's a true story than I have had say it was creepypasta. So let's just call me a skeptical believer. I really think something happened. If it was to that extent, I don't know. But I think there's definitely something happening around Taylor, Mississippi, because there are lots of stories coming out of that area. K. Bauer says there was a story not too long ago of a prize horse, Clydesdale maybe, was kept in a metal stall and building, was found mutilated near a stream. Gate of the stall still closed. That's a hell of an animal to carry off a Clydesdale.
Sure.
443 Big Vic says it was Dead Man Talking, Forest of Fear. Well, Dead Man got it from Dark Waters because Dark Waters is the first one that did that story. And if you go to the Dark Waters channel and look up Siege of Lockett Ranch, it is well worth listening to. Because if it's fiction, it is damn good fiction, and it is well written. I'm telling you that as a guy that writes fiction, the detail in that surprises me. There's stuff in it that I probably wouldn't have thought of as a writer. So, if it's fiction, Dark Waters is one hell of a writer. Well, we're coming up on the top of the hour, even though we had to start a little bit late. But we'll probably go ahead and start winding things down. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties at the beginning. I want to take a minute and mention our affiliates. Doc, who couldn't be with us tonight, is teaching a class down in Louisiana, and just make sure you guys check out Dark Angel Medical for all your first aid and trauma kit needs. If you're law enforcement or first responder of any degree, there's HSA and FSA eligible. He's got classes on the Dark Angel Medical YouTube channel. There's some free classes on there, or you can sign up for online classes through the website. Trust me, folks, in this day and age, especially if you're going to be spending any time out in the woods away from basic 911 services, you need to have a kit. I don't go out ever without a med kit. I keep 2 in the car, and I always have one on my belt or on my pack whenever we go out in the woods for anything. So get a kit. Be prepared, because the life you save may very well be your own or someone you care about. And use discount code Cryptid20 for 20% off your entire order. Also, check out the good folks over at Scallywag Tactical. It makes some outstanding blades. A good blade is something you should have as part of your EDC, because I firmly believe that the knife is one of the greatest inventions of humanity, because they're so versatile as tools. Whether you're, Mad Dog Mattis said you should always carry a knife because you never know when somebody might need stabbing or there might be cheesecake.
Mm-hmm.
I usually carry at least two, but you should keep some sort of useful tool, at least like a multi-tool that has a good blade on it, because you never know when those are going to come in handy. So check out Scallywag Tactical. Yeah, here's a good one. This one's the Crow's Nest. Great little knife. Fits right on your belt. Doesn't take up much room.
Yep, this is a great little knife too.
The Redonda.
Mm-hmm.
But check out scallywagtactical.com. Let them know we sent you and use discount code DA Roberts at checkout to save DA Roberts 10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. And our newest one are the good folks over at sigwoarms.com. And if you want to know how to spell that, that would be this right here, sigwoarms.com. Use the discount code Bigfoot5 for 5% off your order. If you've ever wanted a Wild Hunt logo, engraved on your favorite cordless hunting apparel, or your cordless hole punching device, check out the folks over at Dark Angel.
Sigwo.
I'm sorry. Check out the folks over at Sigwo. You can see the codename Wild Hunt and the team logo on there. But they are awesome group of people. Just reach out to them. They've got everything from cordless hole punchers to whisper pickles. That's a suppressor for those of you who may not know. But they also make their own ammunition, and they've got really good deals on stuff like optics and lights. Check them out. Again, sigwoarms.com. Let them know we sent you. Robbie, tell us a little bit about your books before we wind things out.
My current book is out now, Howl the Night Wolf. Goes back to 18th century Scotland. Tells the story of Ramsay and his hunting party that go after a couple of Ulfhednar who are wreaking havoc on the lowlands and the highlands. And there's quite a few Easter eggs in that book. Some tie-ins, some Easter eggs, some fun little things.
Sorry.
What?
Hillary said, boy, this would be a different show if you had an adult toy manufacturer as a sponsor.
Very true.
Considering some of these situations we've been in, maybe we should get a sponsorship from Depends for those brown pants moments.
Yeah, well, that depends.
See what you did there?
Yeah, see what I did there. So Howl the Night Wolf is out right now. The follow-up, I don't know if it's really it's the
building from
Howl the Night Wolf is Grail Blood Oath, which my brother from another mother over there is working on layouts and formatting and all that stuff. Cover is we're good with the cover, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So cover is done. So we're just waiting on edits and layout to finish up. And
final page count.
Final page count. Final page count. Then the cover is officially done. It's done as far as nothing else needs to be added to it. But we got to wait for final page count for it to officially be done. Then it's just a matter of doing all the hoops that KDP wants you to jump through. So that will be hopefully in another week or so. And I'm 5 chapters and almost 10,000 words into book 6, which is the follow-up book to book 5, which EA is working on for me now. So I think y'all are going to like it
done soon.
Yep, I think y'all are going to like the Grail series. It's the British version of the Wild Hunt. They are the, and if you've read Demon of Paladuro Canyon, they're mentioned in that book. So that's where. And how long was that? What, year and a half ago that we were discussing that, and we said we need to have something happen in Europe. I think about a year and a half ago.
About a year. I think it was about a year ago. It was the last time you were here.
Well, it was the time before that.
Okay,
Not the last time. that's why I say somewhere between a year and a half to a year. We were sitting in his backyard having a discussion. We said we got to have something that happens in Europe. Well, fast forward, we're like, so this is the European happenings of what's going on in the greater Nightmare Hunterverse. So I think y'all are gonna like it.
And
It's
after the shots yesterday, my back felt good enough. I actually came in here and wrote for a while. So I'm back at the grind. I can actually concentrate again. My back pain is not eliminated, but it's manageable. So I'm going to try my damnedest to get Devil of the Absarokas done. Hopefully this week. We'll see how things go, but I've got a lot of great ideas with this, and I've got maybe 2 more chapters to finish it, and I've just got to finish the fight I'm on, and then I'm going to do the final chapter, then the prologue, epilogue, where everything gets wrapped up and I introduce other elements. So I hope to like I said, I hope to have that done here very soon.
There may be some very interesting things in this epilogue.
Just might. So hopefully I'm back in full swing. I'm gonna try to, over the next few months, get as many books out as I can. I'm immediately after I finish this one. I've already started it, but I'm not really in full swing operation on it. I'm going to be starting Codename Wild Hunt Leviathan Down. I'm going to be working as a side project on the sequel to Nightmare Hunter. It's going to be called Nightmare Hunter Curse of the Rougarou. I'm about 15,000 words into that one already. It's just been kind of backburnered as a side project. I need to rework some things and then try to get that done. And then after Codename Wild Hunt is going to be another Apex Predator book. I haven't titled it yet. And after that will be another Lakeview Man. It's going to be called Return to Blunk Road. And from there, I will just see where the muse takes me. If it's another Dark Frontiers, if it's another sci-fi book. But I've got 8 series in production, and I'm not planning on stopping any of them. I'm just going to try to get as many books out. Hopefully I can catch up with Robbie, because he's cranking them out faster than I can edit the things. And so if I can keep up with Robbie, then hopefully we'll have several more books out over the next 6 months to a year.
And that's kind of how, some of the way we discussed that we wanted it released is depending on what comes out from which one of us first, because we're trying to make it as easy for y'all to follow. Yeah, I know it's hard to follow what's in both of our heads, so we're trying to make it as easy as possible. Because if he releases something before I release something, and it won't maybe not make quite as much sense unless it's the other way around. So that's why I kind of went with the Grail series first, because he needs to get Leviathan down out before I go ahead with Shadow Hunters, because Shadow Hunters is not really going to make a whole lot of sense until he gets Leviathan down out. I mean,
if things go as planned, the next Apex Predator book should be out by Christmas, if things go as planned. Thank you, Miss Lene. I've also got a couple of short stories in the work. One that is called Where Angels Feared to Tread. It's featuring Doc and the Bowie brothers. If you guys remember them from Operation Lily. I'm also going to be bringing the Bowie brothers back. In the next Apex Predator, we're going to be introduced to some new characters. There are going to be a few new faces with the Hotametaneo. And while you may not know these characters, you're going to know their parents. So wait till you see that. And you haven't seen the end of Rocky Marlowe and Mel either. So be watching for them to be popping up. Also, at some point, hopefully, I hate to go out on a limb here, but maybe by spring, might be introducing the new series, which is going to be called Olympus, Project Olympus.
Project Olympus. Yeah, that's going to definitely have.
Yes, Roxanne, Gray Eagle is going to be in it.
Project Olympus is definitely going to have tie-ins from both books.
Richie Evans says, "Real question, DA, when are you going to make like Lord of the Rings books like Tolkien?" Already got one out. It's called Heart of Iron. If you haven't read it, I really liked writing Heart of Iron. I thought it was a great book, but a lot of people have not noticed it. It is a fantasy novel, but it does tie into the rest of the DA verse. And if you haven't figured out what happened to Will Grey Eagle when he was in the other dimension from Apex Predator Dark Moon, it reveals that in Heart of Iron. So if you haven't had a chance to read Heart of Iron, check it out. It is available now in print, Kindle, and audio. So check out Heart of Iron. That's my first fantasy book. I'm planning a sequel to that. It's going to be called Leaves of Silver. And I'm also planning another of the sci-fi series, the Lost Legion series. This one's going to be called Gunslinger's Destiny. It's about Duncan Kane, not Declan Kane, Duncan Kane in the future. And there will also be another Man's Marauders book at some point, but it'll probably be next year.
Yep. So
Miss Lene said she loved Heart of Iron. Heart of Iron, I think, is probably my most underrated book. A lot of people don't even know it's out, and I've tried to advertise it. I've tried to push it, but a lot of people ignored it because it was fantasy. But it does tie into the other books.
Yeah, I'm kind of partial to that one too. That's where Jed gets his.
A lot of interesting stuff happens in Heart of Iron.
That's where Jed grows his fur. And now, if you read Howl the Night Wolf, you'll understand why Jed screamed the word he screamed and why what happened to him. And
we hadn't even planned that when I did that.
Nope.
It just worked out perfectly.
Worked out.
All right, folks, we are at the 2-hour mark. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We had an awesome time. We will be back with you guys Saturday night. I'm back in the swing of things. I've got lidocaine patches to help control back pain. I've had one on tonight, and I still feel fine. I'm just a little fidgety. Probably the amount of caffeine I've drank today. Hatoshi, thank you, dude. He said, "Hell, Heart of Iron is, to me at least, on par with Lord of the Rings." Dude, thank you. That is huge, high praise. The next of that series, the World of Valgard series, is going to be called Leaves of Silver. And you'll understand why once you read the book, because there's a character in there named Silverleaf. So be looking for that one. You definitely have not heard the end of Balkus. Arlen says he's read Heart of Iron 3 times, reread Heart of Iron 3 times. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. Roxanne, thank you. I still got to deal with the neurosurgeon, get an MRI done so they can see how much more damage is done. But if nothing else, it's looking pretty good with that spinal stimulator. So I'm. Jeremy says, when does DA start shifting? Miss Lane says Robbie becomes a slobber doggy in that book. Sorry, Robbie, couldn't help myself.
Yep.
But yeah, check out all of Robbie's books on Amazon.com. You can check out all of mine on daroberts.net or also on Amazon.com. They're all available in Kindle, print, and in audio. So check them out, and we would love to have you guys, enjoying the books and joining us on this crazy journey we call writing. Also, join us on Monday nights as we create a story together. It is called Monday Mayhem, and if you haven't caught it, you're missing out because we've been having a lot of fun creating a story together.
And that one's got a lot of tie-ins from all the books too.
Sure does. It fits right in.
Yep. Because that one reveals a reason why Ramsey does something that he does.
Exactly.
or why the person who showed Ramsey what he does.
Exactly. Then some of those characters we've introduced, I really like. I may have to find a way to keep some of them around.
Reigen's a pretty cool character. I
like Reigen. He's fun. But anywho, check out all the books and watch for the nightmarehunter.com coming soon. I'm still working on it. I haven't had a whole lot of time to work on stuff because I've been dealing with all my back stuff, but I should be back full swing swinging for the fences, probably from here on, at least unless I have to have surgery, and that'll put me out for a bit. But thank you guys for all the prayers, all the well wishes, and everybody checking on me. It is very much appreciated. And I want to thank you. Like I said, I want to thank each and every one of you and pray for y'all. And we're so thrilled to have you guys as part of the Nightmare Nation. And it's a pleasure to have you guys with us. And remember what we say, that writing is a journey that we take together. And thank you guys so much for taking that journey with us. So as we wander down, I don't want to fail to mention the 22 a Day Foundation. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that is 22 too many. So reach out to your friends and family that are veterans or active duty or reserves or National Guard. Or anyone you know that's a first responder, because these folks deal with things that no human should have to deal with. They see some pretty horrific things, and it takes its toll. PTSD is a bastard, and I hate it, but it's a part of a lot of veterans' lives, daily lives, and it's a daily struggle. So reach out to them, check on them, let them know you're thinking about them, let them know you care, because you never know when that text you send them or that phone call or inviting somebody over for dinner, it might be the thing that keeps them off the edge. So check on them, let them know you care about them, because 22 a day is 22 too many. So as we wander down, I'm going to ask old Robbie here to lead us out with the toast, and I will bring it up on the screen. And again, thank you guys for being with us.
All right, guys, raise a glass, doesn't matter what it is, whatever you're drinking. The old Irish drinking song talking about, or what most people think is just talking about leaving the bar at the end of the night, but a lot deeper meaning to it when you actually hear the song and look into the lyrics about those who have gone on, and it's about seeing them again one day. So join us in the toast that goes, but since it fell unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night, everybody. Slán
Good night, everyone. Slán Jamal, and we'll see you guys on Saturday night.
Plains, the winds are howling, saloon doors swinging, shadows growling. 3 lawmen stand tough as rawhide. Yeah, Doc DA, nothing can abide. Whiskey shots and poker faces, staring down the darkest spaces in this town where legends roam. These boys bring justice, sending evil home. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Jed's a howler, claws of steel, Doc's a biter, makes the devil real. But DA's a shifty one, a shape-shifting soul, can turn to anything, takes any form, takes control. Tonight the chupacabras come to town, sucking the life from all around. But these lawmen, they ain't afraid, they'll face the darkness unafraid. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, against the endless night. Bat wings flap, the air grows cold, a chill and trap. But these lawmen, they're ready to fight underneath the pale moonlight. Jet and Doc transform with a howl. DA shifts, becomes a night owl. Together they stand, a force so strong against the evil right in the road. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night.